Welcome to the Scary Spirits Podcast. Please be advised that the presenters may use adult language and/or discuss adult situations. This podcast is not intended for younger listeners or those that may be easily offended. So, if you're ready, let's go.
Hi, I'm Greg.
Hey, I'm Karen.
And welcome to the Scary Spirits Podcast presents Wicked Ramblings, an entertainment podcast that strives to answer the twisted questions currently burning a bright hole in your dark soul.
What could possibly go wrong?
Indeed. How are you, Karen?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you, Greg?
I'm good.
You better be. Or there might be consequences with this one. You better be good.
That's true, Karen. I hadn't considered that.
You're in trouble. I'm just going to put that out there.
Yeah. So what topic are we covering today, Karen?
Today, Greg, Krampus is coming.
Krampus.
Ooh.
Scary. So who is our guest, Karen?
Well, our guest has been involved in Krampus groups since 2015. In 2020, he co-founded the Ohio Krampus Society with his lovely wife, Liz, to raise money for local not-for-profit charities in the community. Since its creation, the Ohio Krampus Society has partnered with Mended Little Hearts of Northeast Ohio, Piper's Key, and in 2022, Wags for Kids. When he is not dressing as Krampus, he is a wastewater treatment plant operator for Summit County and the vice president of his union. He is involved in his son's scout troop and participates in charity bike runs each year. He graduated from the Ohio State University Agricultural Technical Institute. Please welcome Ed Sutera.
Hello, all out there.
Hello. How are you, Ed?
Good. Just
Good.
Prepping for the fun season that's about to start.
It is.
I bet. Well, that's a good question. When does it start? When do you start prepping? Now?
Well, so we start prepping all year as far as picking out a charity and everything. That started back in February, but locking down the schedule with the events we do and everything, that basically happened the month of September. So now it's just the fine tuning for all the events.
So how do you pick a charity?
Our main goal is to find one that's 100% local, just serving Northeast Ohio. Like with Mended Little Hearts, there's a huge parent one, but we wanted to make sure we donated specifically to the parents in the Northeast Ohio chapter. So it stayed in Ohio. And then we like to involve kids because of the whole meaning of Krampus and everything.
Yeah, I noticed all your charities have to do with children for the most part.
Yes.
Sorry. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, it makes sense. All right. So obvious question. What drew you to Krampus? Wait, before you do that, I have to admit, before I met Greg, I had no idea who Krampus was. So I'm flying blind here pretty much. But it takes a certain person to be drawn to Krampus. So what made you think this is the dude for me?
I guess I could be described as strange. So some of the strange, more outlandish stuff, music, everything else has always been my taste. And when I found out about this, it intrigued me because through my lifelong curiosity of, studying ethics and different philosophies, there's always a duality. And Krampus and St. Nicholas are that duality. And it's fun. And it's a really old tradition too. So
my mom would put candy in our shoes on St. Nicholas Day. She was Polish, but she never mentioned the Krampus, which I'm really surprised because it would have worked for her. There's 5 of us.
I've talked to people in Poland, and they do have a version of it in parts of Poland. Okay. But it seems like in America, we've really put a sugar coating over a lot of the European traditions. Like we didn't bring those parts of the European traditions because as you look through all of Europe, almost every different country, or not so much country because of how all the countries how they are, but their regions almost all have a Christmas type devil.
Yeah.
So it's
or the anti Saint Nicholas, the duality, like you said,
correct,
especially Scandinavian, Germanic.
Correct,
seems to be prevalent in that area, right?
Yes.
So how did you get your feet wet with this back in 2015?
So I met people that were doing this already, discussed it with them, and I bought.
Where do you meet such people? Is there a local bar or
at an Oktoberfest?
Okay, makes sense.
And I joined that group, got costumes actually through Facebook. Was able to meet a lot of people in Austria. So my first mask was carved here, but I have 5 other masks, and they were all from the same artist in Austria. Oh, and then me and my wife sat down, and we enjoy doing this, but we wanted to focus more on charity, and that's how we started our own group up. I would like to do this for a bigger purpose than just making a few dollars on the side.
He's so much nicer than we are, Greg.
I know,
look at that.
But traditionally, the masks are wood, carved from
yes,
wood,
all
correct?
of my masks are wood. Actually, they're from a single tree. Like they take a pine log, and it's Swiss pine, and they carve it down with the chainsaw, the rough cut, and then they hand carve the rest of the mask out. And they weigh probably about, with the horns attached and the fur attached, probably 15 to 20 pounds.
Yikes.
Yeah.
And do you have hooves too?
No, I do not do the hooves. Yeah.
I was going to say that'd be awfully hard.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about Krampus's origin story.
Krampus is a very old tradition, but goes by different names in the region. So there's a tradition with an alpine witch called Frau Pekta. And she would, like, if people didn't clean the house, she would disembalm you and stuff you with straw. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Well, you cursed already, Karen.
I know, but that's pretty scary. I'm sorry.
She had spirits, alpine creatures that were called Pektin. And if you look, sometimes the masks are done a little differently, the Pektin masks, but it's very similar to Krampus. And basically at one point the church came in, said, hey, we don't want you doing these pagan rituals. Stop it. And, if something's been part of a culture for hundreds of years, okay, we can't get you to stop it. We'll incorporate it with Saint Nicholas, and we'll change the creature's name. And he now is Krampus, which dates back to, they think, the German word for claw. Kramp.
Okay.
And that's how the Krampus tradition with Saint Nicholas was born. So it was basically the church coming in and taking a pagan ceremony and tying it in to something else, because the Pektin would come out originally around the winter solstice, and the cowbell was used to scare away the winter spirits, so they would have a mild winter in those areas. And that's where you kind of get the cowbell too, because it's all in the Alps, and the Swiss cowbells and all of that part of the costume.
So how did he go from that tradition, that pagan tradition, to snatching children who aren't good? Was that just something parents started saying to?
Yeah, because they had so a saint can't be bad. He's a saint.
Oh, okay.
So that Krampusnacht is December 5th. The Feast of Saint Nicholas is December 6th.
6th, yeah.
So, if you think about it, Christmas wasn't always a big gift time, especially in the Roman Catholic Church. Children back then got gifts mostly just on Saint Nicholas feast. And like you were saying with the candy canes that you'd leave out in the shoes or you'd get in the shoes, check in the morning. So they had to have an antagonist there. And hey, it's a hooved creature with horns. What makes a better thing to punish children?
It's a good fit.
I'm in.
Yeah.
That'll work.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
So I have an interesting question for you. What gets you grabbed by Krampus? What's the line in the sand? Could your mom just say, you didn't brush your teeth, Krampus is coming? Or do you have to do something like punch your sister or something? Like, where is it all up to the parents?
So
or how does that work?
There's levels of badness. A tradition over there is Krampus walks with the birch switch. So over there, families will keep a birch switch on the fireplace year round, just to let the children know he's watching. And then, of course, there depends how bad you are, depends on what the punishment's going to be. Is it just a couple switches, swats with the switch? Or have you been bad enough that he is going to take you and store you in his lair? Or, the bad ones stay down in his lair and get eaten.
Oh, I was going to say, do you ever come back from that? Or can you be released if you're only...
Yeah, I believe you can, depending on the severity. There's a time frame he would hold you or not. But...
Greg?
What?
You're not coming back. Just so you know.
Well, probably not. I probably won't want to.
That's true.
You need any help?
Tea with Krampus. Talking about the costume, he carries bells, correct?
Correct.
Is that to warn you that he's coming, or is that just part of the tradition?
So it's part of the tradition, but it still goes back is he's coming into a village. He's still scaring off the evil. He's bound to Saint Nicholas. So
Gotcha.
Even though he's bad, he's not all bad.
Well, I wouldn't say he's bad. I would say he punishes the bad, right?
Correct. But there's still a part where he's taking kids off and he's allowed to take them off and if at one point eat them, which I mean,
that's kind of bad.
Yeah.
That's a little bad.
He's just punishing the wicked. That's all he's doing.
He's just playing his part.
Yeah.
So where is he the rest of the year? You know how, like, in our tradition, Santa Claus is at the North Pole, except for that one night when he delivers everything. Where is Krampus when he's not out?
I would assume he's retreating somewhere into a lair back in the Alps.
Awesome. That's where you want to be, Greg. The lair in the Alps.
Yeah.
Maybe. So is Krampus always a male?
To be honest with you, no, I don't. There's not really a sex given to him. So I
have seen female Krampuses.
My wife dresses.
Or Krampi.
So my wife dresses. If you look at our pictures, the one in the mask with the horns like our logo that go to the side, that is my wife's costume.
Wait, so Liz,
yes,
do you wear the 20-pound wood carving head?
Yeah.
Impressive.
Although we don't try to be in costume for more than 2 hours.
We have enough.
We have enough of us that dress that when we do like a longer event for photos, we rotate in and out because it's, especially indoors, it's not the most comfortable costume to be in.
So it's the Ohio Krampus Society, right? And it's basically it's a Facebook page. It's not even like a group, right?
I mean, we're kind of a group.
But it sounds like you have other people who help you, like with your fundraisers.
Yes.
And
yeah,
things
there's
like that.
people outside of our family that are members of the group that have, like our prop Hecta is another member of the group, and then the Krampus with the blue face is another member, and then I have other people that dress as our Saint Nicholas and stuff. So at any point in time, 5 Krampuses and 1 Saint Nicholas could be at an event.
And mostly you raise money by having photos taken. Is that correct?
Yeah. So some, like at our event we do with the Cleveland Botanical Gardens, they give us a flat fee for a pairing, and we just donate that directly to the charity. And then other than that, we just ask for a donation for photographs. We're kind of like the Salvation Army for the charity, but we try to offer you something instead of just saying donate to the charity. Well, hey, come enjoy this tradition, get your picture taken,
and support this charity at the
charity,
same time. Yeah, gotcha. So you just said a blue-faced Krampus. Is that a personal choice of that person, or is that another tradition somewhere?
No, that was a personal choice of our artist in Austria. He basically had about 5 or 6 different masks to choose from when I picked that one out. And I was like, that one looks interesting. And he's like, okay.
Yeah, you would stand out in the crowd.
Yeah.
Even more. So this is kind of a strange one, but is Krampus immortal, or does he pass the curse down in a family tradition? You know what I mean? Like,
he's immortal.
Okay.
He's kind of
like Saint Nick or
Santa Claus, or he's a being that's just there.
So even though there's an official Krampus in many different areas, there's still only one. Just like for us, there might be Saint Nick or Santa Claus, known as different names, but it's the same being.
I guess. I mean, over there they do Krampus troops. So there's a troop of Krampuses, and even when you go to the pre-Christianity days with the Pectin, it was a group of Pectin that came out. But I guess for the actual, if you're just going by the Krampus story, then there is just one with Saint Nicholas. So the tradition of the house calling, it's just one, with Saint Nicholas, where the Krampus lofts, which are the runs over there, it's always a group of Krampus.
It's like a parade.
Correct. Yes. And that's the other interesting thing is Krampus has literally nothing to do with Christmas. It's all Saint Nicholas. So even in Europe, November is the time for the Krampus lofts, the Krampus parades, where each group will show off their masks for the year, the costume, they do a big parade, and then basically the festivities will end after December 5th.
Oh, so it's not one night.
It's one. Well, they do the big parades in November, and then Krampusnacht.
It all culminates in December 5th. And so if Krampus hasn't stolen you away because you were naughty, then St. Nicholas comes in and puts treats in your shoes.
Correct.
Correct.
And one of the other neater traditions, and you can find videos of this, is they'll actually have St. Nick walk into the house with the Krampus, and parents will give him a list, and he opens his book and lists off good things and bad things, and they'll actually show the Krampus grab the kid and start hitting them with the switch. Yeah.
Seriously?
Yes.
I mean, just Krampus walking in your house would be a little bit like, oh, crap. This isn't good.
We've heard stories from older people that came from those regions where they did take them off. In one area, they threw them into a waterway if they were bad. Yeah, some of them were tied by trees and told that they would just be there, and later on their parents come get them or whatever. But,
wow, we really have watered it down to coal in your stocking.
We've watered it down even worse to a creepy elf on a shelf.
Oh, well, that's true. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's bad. Okay, well, speaking of that, can you bargain with Krampus? Can you do offerings or something that says, okay, I know I've screwed up, I've been bad, but here, take this. So you don't
say a Hail Mary or something.
No, that's the great part of the tradition. You're really being judged for your whole year of actions, and there's the being to punish you and the being to reward you, and there's no bargaining out. It's purely on what you've done in the previous year.
Man. That's going to cause us to
But you can always redeem yourself the next year, right?
Correct. Yeah.
If you're not eating in the lair.
Yeah.
Right? Have you been paying attention here? I think I know where we're going to be. So his outfit, what's his general look? Because when I've seen
that goes back to Austria. Pre-modern society was broken into little villages. So every village had, if you see older pictures, had different feelings to them from that era. And then a lot of people pick out what Krampus should look like from the postcards from the early 1900s. And if you look on the history of those, a lot of those were individual artists in Vienna at the time who were just drawing of what they heard of or what he looked like. So it was really the artist image of him and not the image from the actual individual villages. A lot of the early pictures, there's a great book out there. Give me 1 second. I have to find.
It looks like a lot of the early ones are more devil-like.
Devil, or there even the earlier pictures. The book's called Krampus and the Old Dark Christmas. It's an excellent book. It's one of the only English books that's actually, I would say, written on a more of an educational thing. The author actually went over there to individual villages to talk to people. A lot of the early costumes in that book, the photos that he found. Are you familiar with the Currents? It's a Slovenian festival right before Lent, and they're big furry things with cowbells on them and horns. And that's actually what a lot of the early images of Krampus look like. Interesting side fact is during the German occupation in Austria during World War II, the Nazis actually tried to outlaw Krampus. They tried to die down the festivities and the parties because didn't fit their
stupid Nazis.
Yes. So there was a huge resurgence that we're still in right now of artists in Austria and everything else bringing the tradition back. So now you even have a more individualized look of Krampus.
But there are a couple of things that stay the same. Is it like because he rings the bells or jingles the bells?
Right. The constant
horns
costume would be a horned beast with the fur and the cowbells, and then some people say one hoofed foot or no hoofed foot. So it's only
really?
Even if it's a hoofed foot, it's a single hoofed foot.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
What's the other one?
A regular
foot?
Yeah.
That's going to make it difficult.
It's kind of like a half man, half beast kind of thing.
Beast,
and they're kind of taking it literally.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I've actually heard, I just looked up that book and I've actually heard that guy on another podcast before. The author.
Okay. He actually does his own podcast too.
Does he?
Yeah.
I've heard him on another one.
But that's actually a really good book because a lot of the other books are more or less just modern artist stories about it, where he actually went in and tried to find.
So that's what, if
folklore.
Someone's listening and thinks, I want to know about this, that's the book you recommend. You don't recommend going on the internet, or, this would be would you say the best, at least starting material for someone to get the foundations?
Unless you could read German and get your hands on some of the German accounts and it's not even reading German, it's reading Austrian, which from what I hear from my German teacher friend is a bit different than North German or proper German. So that would be the best book to start. And if you're an English speaker, which I am.
And a good one. So does Krampus speak like, and it's not a good analogy, but Santa says ho 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 or whatever. Does Krampus have a catchphrase, or does he speak at all?
No, and even when we're in costume, I mean, unless there's a child crying and we try to calm them down and lift up the mask, it's mainly grunts and growls.
Okay. Cool. That makes it easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when did he arrive in America? When did Americans start embracing it? It seems like there's been a revival in recent years.
Yeah, it's I would say the oldest one I really think I could find. If you go to some German clubs, they had little Krampus events or whatever. But
yeah, you would think living in Cincinnati, which is
right
historical German city, right, with over the Rhine and everything else, there would probably be more here than there are.
But the interesting fact around that one too is what I've talked to from. So as far as this being a German tradition, it's really only the southeast of Germany, the Bavarian area, the Alps. Yeah. Because I'm sure you've heard a lot of German families still have heard of Belschnickel, the Office episode. So if the families came from more North Germany or Western Germany, that would have been their anti Saint Nick.
Yeah, question. And there are several. I mean, you've mentioned Perkta, you've mentioned Belschnickel.
Yes,
I've heard of the Yule Cat.
Correct. That's the Icelandic
kind of sorta.
Yeah. There's Pete the Butcher, which was another one where.
Wait, Pete the Butcher. What
is that? The same as Black Pete, or is that different?
No, Zwart Piet is the Netherlands, and that one I kind of don't like to talk about because the
racial.
Well, yeah, because they're if you ever get, I actually have pictures of a parade in the Netherlands, and when I was there for a St. Nicholas parade, but there's a bunch of people running around in blackface. And that's Black Peter, right. But he's more mischief. But Pete the Butcher is a great one. There's, I believe, in Bonn, Switzerland, there's a fountain in one of the squares of Pete the Butcher, and he's eating the children.
That's the same as it's an alter ego of Krampus, just a different part of the world. Then
correct, yes.
And they all it's still Saint Nick, or
yes, it is still all with Saint Nicholas.
Okay, so the Saint Nicholas stays the same, but but his counterpart differs in all different parts of the world.
Correct. Yes.
It's interesting that we don't have one here.
There's even like a Japanese one I'm looking now, like Hamahaj or something like that. I don't know. It's a Japanese folklore character associated with New Year's rituals. I didn't know it went to like the Far East. I thought it was all basically Scandinavian. And
there's actually a Krampus Japan now too. They have their own Krampus group in Japan, which is funny to see how far it's being spread now. But the original question was going back to when it came here. Bloomington, Indiana was actually one of the first areas to have a Krampus Fest. It started in 2012. Them and Los Angeles were the two early kind of bringing the tradition to the States.
Is there a high concentration of Scandinavians in those places? Or did someone like you just said, hey, this is weird and twisted, let's do this?
I don't know. So the guy that actually started the Los Angeles Krampus is the author of the book, the Krampus book. In Bloomington, I have no idea how Bloomington started. But they're not doing it anymore. They did it for 10 years, and the organizers were like, our goal was 10 years. Last year was our 10th anniversary, and we're done.
Had you been to it?
No, I have never been to Bloomington's, no.
But you went to Europe.
Yeah.
He goes to the source. He's going straight to the source. Let's go back to your charities. And you've talked about how you pick them and all of that. And describe a typical event that you would do. You kind of did. You said there's multiple Krampuses and a Saint Nick. So when you're at the botanical gardens, do you wander around? Do you, how does it?
Actually, all of our events are a little different. Our first event, which we do, is photos with Krampus. And we actually, for that event, we get a backdrop made and we do a little setting, and I have a throne chair, and we just ask for a suggested donation of $5. If you don't have it, you don't have to donate. No one's getting turned away. And that event is about 6 hours, and it's like your traditional photos with Santa, but you get to have it with Krampus. And we have had people that, every year that's their Christmas card. We do that event right after Thanksgiving. So it's the Sunday after Thanksgiving, and we partner with a local dive bar rock club. And in the concert area, we set up the stage and we just have people do that. And then the Kris Kringle markets we do, and the botanical gardens is more of a free-flowing event. So there'll be multiple Krampuses walking around, stop, get your picture taken with them. And we have a little booth where people will talk about our mission, and then the charity we have there too to talk about their mission. And then the last part we do, which we don't really advertise, is we go into schools and we'll do a Krampus presentation for the school. We've 4 or 5 years now, we go into Brecksville High School and middle school, do a presentation, and then we actually walk the hallways. We get either the principal or the counselor to dress up as Saint Nick, and teachers will make a list of the bad kids and good kids, and he'll walk in and he'll pass out candy. Obviously, we're not allowed to beat the children, but we'll go up to their desk and beat their desk or shove their pencil off the desk if they made the naughty list.
Dude, they probably volunteer to be on the naughty list. Because
the teachers are the ones who actually get to make up the list. So it's their actual teachers for that class that say which kids have been bad or good.
Okay, that's great. So when you talk to high schoolers, you must have a different presentation than when you talk to middle schoolers. Do you change it up or?
I mean, we change it to make it a little softer, but we really don't go, we try to stay away from as much controversial stuff. So we touch on the pagan part of it just a little bit, but mainly this is a tradition over there, to keep children in line. It's the same as our elf on the shelf. It's just, if you think about it, it's a lot more creative.
I never made that connection.
I didn't either, but it makes sense, right?
Yeah,
it is the elf on the shelf, right? It is, exactly.
And with this one, I mean, this is a whole market over there. There's stores over there that stay open year round for Krampus supplies, as far as getting bells, purchasing the leather with the fur on. Mask makers start taking their orders in January, so they'll do 7 masks for that troop, and so it actually helps supports a whole cottage industry over there too.
Right, local artists, right?
Right, yeah, and that's the other big thing is it's they, for as uncomfortable as it is, they still are wearing the wooden masks in the real horns and full leather, and it's
nice that it's cold out.
Yeah.
For those parades,
I learned that lesson rough last year. I got trapped in one of the greenhouses.
I was going to say the botanical garden sounds miserable.
Yeah, it does. It really does. I mean, it's hot enough without a costume. Just going on in your winter clothing, it's hot enough in a botanical garden.
So you said you have multiple masks. Do you have multiple outfits that go with those masks?
Yes.
So each costume goes with a specific mask.
Correct. Like on some events, I'll just bring one costume, but 2 masks. So I could come out with one mask, then take my break and come out with the other mask. But we do have a dedicated costume for every mask.
Excellent.
And my wife enjoys all the storage in the basement that goes just for Krampus.
All wives do enjoy that. That's a common thread.
Well, she's a co-founder.
I know. Yeah. It's half her fault.
She knew what she was getting into. So let's talk about your charity. So tell us about Wags for Kids, this year's charity.
So they're a really interesting program. They specialize in mobility service dogs for children with autism or are wheelchair bound. But they actually use the Ohio prison system to train the dogs. So either at the Grafton facility or the Mansfield facility, a prisoner will be assigned one of the puppies, and they go through and do all the initial training and everything for the dog. And then the organization takes the dog and finishes everything up with the dog. But when we talk to Sarah, she says it's about $28,000 to get a dog certified
it's very
as an
expensive.
actual mobility service dog. So this, they pick a family, like people apply for it, and then through donations and stuff, they cover most of the expense, and then they ask the family to help put on events for themselves to cover their part of it. So, and it's roughly about $9,000 to cover their part. So WAGS picks up about $20,000. We met with her. I liked the whole story about, helping prisoners, because everybody makes mistakes, and we give them a chance to pick up a skill or something while they're in there. And then the dogs for kids. I'm a dog lover, so we kind of looked at it as this is kind of kids, dogs, and
and it kind of
helping,
fits.
Rehabilitate.
If Krampus is looking for people who have made some mistakes, right? And
Yes.
then so it does kind of fit your whole deal. Hey, Greg, do you hear that? You know what that means.
Krampus is coming.
Uh-oh. Have you been naughty?
Always, Karen. But I'm feeling kind of nice today. I'm thinking we should do a giveaway to celebrate the Krampus season.
That's a great idea. What should we reward our listener with?
We've got 2 amazing prizes to give away. The book, The Krampus and the Old Dark Christmas, Roots and Rebirth of the Folkloric Devil by Al Ridenour. And a signed hardcover copy of Rock Tales, an amped-up spin on mixology by Kristen Kreft and Maya Banatawala.
Those are amazing prizes. How can you win one of these prizes?
Just email your name to info@scaryspirits.com and put contest in the subject line.
So we'll pick from everyone who enters by emailing their name to info@scaryspirits.com and puts contest in the subject line.
Yep. Just enter by December 15th.
Either of those would make a great holiday gift. So enter today.
Yes.
Are you available for private parties? Do you do that? Or can I hire you to scare the crap out of my kids, or no?
So, I mean, we've done like house visits, if they're relatively close to us, if someone requests one, and then with that, it would just be like, hey, give a donation to here. Mm-hmm. But with the events, we keep pretty, basically from Thanksgiving weekend until the end of the Hudson Chris Kringle market, we're slammed. And then that school visits are usually all within that 2-week period too. And then we try to distance ourselves as much as we can from Christmas, because it's inevitable at every event. Can't believe you have this out at Christmas. What does this have to do with Christmas?
Right.
This and that. And the first thing we always tell people, this has nothing to do with Christmas. This is St. Nicholas. So
you've tried a hard stop on Krampusnacht. Like, are you
we
much
go
done?
The weekend after, but yeah, we try at least a week and a half before Christmas. We try to shut everything down. So no matter what my personal feelings are on, because technically this tradition is a lot older than the traditions people are saying that we're not following. Yeah.
I know.
But,
we're with you.
I try to stay away from as much controversy as I can.
So since Krampus doesn't speak, when you're just walking around like a botanical garden or something like that, or just mingling with public, do like each Krampus have like maybe like a helper who can explain the story?
We have a Krampus handler, and they walk with us. And because the other problem with the wood masks are the line of sight I have is I can't see my feet. I can't see anything on the side of me. I could see straight in front of me about 20 feet. And that's what I have. So steps become challenging. Small children become challenging.
Small pets.
Yeah, small pets. Yeah.
But all Krampus, because I've seen some with the cages on their back and some without. All of them
The
are
baskets. Or
baskets.
baskets, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
All of them are judging the children. It's just some of them.
They actually aren't. They don't do the judging. Saint Nicholas does the judging.
Oh,
they
see,
just
I did not
deal
know
the
that.
punishment. Yeah,
Gotcha.
they're not part of the judgment process. So
Interesting.
if you think about it, if you look at the Christian tradition of heaven and hell in your final judgment day, well, this it's not the devil that
Not the
gets
devil,
to judge
right.
you. He just gets to punish you.
So he is just doing his
Yeah,
job.
so once
then.
again, he's not bad. He's just punishing the wicked.
Yeah.
If you take anything away from this, it's not his fault.
No.
He's just doing his job and doing it well. Doing
Yeah.
it well.
And they even say in the tradition, like, he's bound by Saint Nicholas. That's why you'll see in some drawings or pictures the chains on him, or the one cuff around his one wrist or whatever, because he's bound to a saint.
So would you say that Krampus is kind of cursed?
Yes. Yeah, that would be a fair way to put it. And I would say that's a fair assumption for a lot of the pagan traditions that were somehow slowly brought into religious forms. Is the pagan part that was brought into it was kind of the cursed part.
Right. It has to be for
Yeah,
the new
yeah.
religion to be the promised land and all these great good things. So everything pagan has to be now evil.
Evil, correct.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So would you say Krampus is a tragic character?
Should we
There
feel
is some
sorry for
tragedy
him?
to the story. although he I don't know what's worse, being bound to a witch or being bound to a saint.
Either way, he's a minion,
Yes, either way he's a minion. Yes,
even in pagan tradition, right?
Correct. Yes.
He's the henchman.
He gets
Yeah.
no love.
No love. He's kind of like the pet dog.
The pet dog gets a lot of love around here.
Well, I guess if Krampus was good, he gets a belly rub.
Yes, exactly. But so Saint Nick goes presumably to heaven, and Krampus goes to his lair, and then they meet up over the 48 hours, and then they
Just
separate.
Yeah, separate. Yeah.
So they're not buddies or anything. They're not drinking
No.
in the bar.
No.
Together. So Saint Nick just brings him forth. They read the list. He gets assigned his children. Saint Nick gets his children, and then they go off in their
Correct.
separate ways. Interesting.
Although I do have a great picture, and if I could find it, I'll send it to you guys. It's we met at a bar. It was me in the Krampus outfit, a priest in his priest outfit, and a guy dressed as Santa Claus, all sitting at the bar with a beer in front of us.
That's how it should be. That's
And
how I
the priest
picture
was
it.
an actual priest. It wasn't
really?
a guy dressed
Okay.
up. Yeah.
The priest in a bar. He must have been Catholic.
And actually, he wasn't. But
Oh, because we always say when we have the church festivals, it's beers for Jesus.
I went to Catholic school and grew up Catholic, and I always said, I was like, one thing Catholics always have is gambling and alcohol.
Yep. Greg taught me about Krampus. I taught Greg all about church festivals.
Yep. Beers for Jesus.
He participates. He's
I
like,
do.
I'm in.
I'll drink beer
Yeah.
and gamble.
He just keeps betting 666
I
on the
do.
big wheel, though.
Put my 3/4 on 6. Let it roll. But I go until I give them all my money. So,
Yeah, they're happy.
they're happy. They don't care.
He's just taught my kid to do it. So,
So are there any like events outside of the things you do up where you are, like in Northern Ohio and Cleveland and things like that?
Yeah, so there's another Krampus group up here.
What?
Yeah, there's two
A
Krampus
rival
groups.
Krampus group.
Well, he's the Ohio, so
Yes.
Yeah, we're not rival.
I'm just kidding. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but they do they do a Krampus night up in Cleveland, and they do several other different Krampus events. So actually, Ohio is one of the better covered states for Krampus events, because I seen they're doing a Krampus event in Wapakoneta this year.
Really?
Yes, which completely blew my mind when I seen the advertisement for that, because I was like, wow. I mean, I know where it's at, but I'm thinking,
That's
there's
Neil
not a
Armstrong.
Yeah, I
lot
was going
out
to say,
there.
isn't that Neil Armstrong's hometown?
Yeah. Well, I always think of it being a little bit south of Lima.
I had a roommate in college that lived there.
Okay.
So I know where it is. I've been there.
Yeah. And
it's not big, so I'm
no.
surprised.
Yeah.
I think all this there is the Neil Armstrong Museum, right? Like I see it from the interstate when I'm driving up north.
Yeah, there is that Neil Armstrong Museum up there.
Yeah.
Well, Ohio has like the largest number of haunted houses per capita or something, doesn't it? Like
does.
we're weird in Ohio.
It's something about the corn,
I guess. Or yeah, exactly. It's in the water, but we have a lot of haunted houses here too.
But yeah, we're one of the better represented states for Krampus events. Basically, if you're in any area in Ohio, I could say you could probably find a Krampus event within an hour of you.
So just search it up and
Krampus
event near me and see what Google comes up with.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know the Cincinnati one, they kind of do like pub crawls and things like that, I think. Or those.
Yes, yeah. And that's a lot of what the Cleveland group does too, is a lot more bar events.
And hard to drink in that wooden mask though. Do you get a long straw? How do you do that?
I try to stay away from it in costume and wait till I'm done, because it's just the amount of sweating. My one costume, the upper part is actually all yak fur, so it's a yak hide, and that thing weighs a ton. And the amount of sweating I do in that, even if it's 40 degrees outside, is just not fun sometimes.
So, how many masks does Liz have? Or does she share yours?
She shares.
They're not custom made for you?
So they're pretty close. Like we send him measurements. And
I would think so,
them close, but we have to add the padding when they get shipped here. So all of that has to be glued in. And then all of them are adjustable in the back of the head, how snug it is. So a mask could be worn by more than one person, because the padding gives you a lot of play.
You wear glasses, as I see, just like all of us on here.
Yes.
So can you wear your glasses behind your mask, or are you?
No,
blind?
No glasses behind.
So he's basically blind because he can't see his feet. He can't wear his glasses. So you really need a handler to guide you.
Yes. Yeah.
So you don't take out small children inadvertently.
Yes. So you don't take out the good kids instead of the bad ones.
I've taken out some things too. I mean, I've taken out tables and chairs, just not see them. And I'm a larger framed man. I'm 6'3", 300 pounds. So
you're an imposing Krampus.
You were born to be a Krampus.
Yeah. So in your group, what are the qualifications? Do you have to have a Krampus mask to join, or do you let everyone join and they can help you with your events?
Anybody could join who wants to help out with an event. We have 2 people that help out just with logistics, as far as meeting with places that may want to do an event, to make sure that what we want from them is something they could provide for us, and what they want from us is something we could provide for them. So we actually have somebody that handles all of that initial stuff to say, bring it to the rest of the group. Hey, is this an event that works for you guys?
So almost like your marketing team.
Yes.
Little, looking out and seeing what you can find. But can everyone follow your Facebook page and find out what you're doing? That doesn't. So why don't you tell us what that is, in case anyone wants to?
It's just Ohio Krampus Society on Facebook.
because your numbers are going to just shoot up. Our 2 listeners are going to go right to your page. You're going to say, look at that bump I got from that Scary Spirits podcast. Are you on Instagram or anything else, or just Facebook?
Just Facebook. We may be on Instagram. This is horrible. I'm not the best social media person. Somebody else does a lot of our social media stuff. So, my wife just handed me. It's at Krampus.
Okay.
But
Thanks, Liz.
I think we might be on Instagram. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, and
Okay.
that's OH Krampus, I think.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
On Facebook.
Yep. OH Krampus.
Yeah. And yeah, I'm not the most savvy person with computers, so we have somebody else that handles that too. And as far as dressing, we're pretty liberal. Now, this is the one that throws some people off. The only thing we're semi-sticklers on is a traditional mask.
The wooden one.
Yeah, because part of
So
the
I
whole
can't
thing,
join, Karen.
Yet,
Yeah.
Greg.
Part of the thing is we want to bring the cultural aspect with it too. In
That makes
wood
sense.
carving is huge over there. So we actually found a local wood carver, and me and my wife have taken wood carving classes. I mean, in the stuff we've done has been, like 6th grade art projects. Like I made a pumpkin and she made an apple.
So you got a real sense, though, of what goes into it then.
Yes. Yeah. I felt like that.
Total appreciation for, wow, this is real art.
And I felt like I needed to do that to be able to talk about that aspect. Like,
Are there carvers in America that do it?
There's a few that have started recently, yes. And I don't know enough about them that if they're doing it the traditional way or they're using Dremels or whatnot. But everything over there is
as opposed to chisels and things like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So would you be able to tell if my mask was Dremeled?
I could tell from the inside of the mask.
Okay.
Because you can actually see the chisel marks on the inside of the mask. Yeah, on the outside they sand it down and everything. So the outside is, and they use wood clay to fill in areas where they may need to make the nose bigger or the tongue. Some of our masks have the tongue that comes out. So
yeah.
Are you willing to share your source, or is that something you keep close to the vest?
Actually, my artist is Thomas Ernstrider. But he recently retired from wood carving after 20 years of doing masks. So we have a really good friendship. So he's told me that he will make a mask for me if I need one. But as far as making masks for multitudes of people, he has decided.
Greg, you're going to have to find your own.
Just out of curiosity, what would a hand-carved wood mask run in general? You don't have to be specific.
Well, no, I mean, it's a wide range on how detailed the mask is and how well known the carver is over there. So
like any artistry.
Yeah, anywhere ranging from $400 to $1,800. If you get one of the real famous artists, you're going to pay top dollar for the mask. And the bigger issue we have right now is shipping is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's just the cost of the mask. The shipping is separate than that.
Correct. Yes. Yeah.
And how long does it take? Does it take a year to get a mask? 2
of my masks are like custom. Like I talked to Tom. I said, hey, like the mask that has the mustache. Like I said, I want a mask that kind of has the Franz Joseph look. So he came back and did rough sketches and showed me and then carved it out. And that mask, from start to finish, probably 6 months to get. Other ones, he had like 6 masks and I was like, hey, I'm interested in that one. And that one took about a month to get here shipping wise.
But those were finished. They were already carved.
They were already finished. Yeah.
Because you said there were artists over there that work year round on Krampus.
Yes.
paraphernalia. So when you were over there, did you buy one and ship it home?
No, and actually, when I was over there, I'd never made it to Austria. I did all Northern Europe.
Come
over
on,
there.
you were right there.
So this was all. The 3 times I've been there were all before I made it. Was doing the Krampus stuff.
Oh, okay.
In the time in the Netherlands, we literally were walking out of the Heineken brewery and stumbled upon the St. Nicholas parade. I mean, that's how
Literally
weird it
stumbled.
was.
Were you?
Yeah, literally, like, well, we
coming
just got
out of
done,
Heineken, and
yeah, we just got done finishing up our free Heinekens, and we're like, "What is this?"
Can you get the dark Heinekens over there?
No, it was.
I haven't seen a dark Heineken in so long.
It tasted way different over there than it does over here. It didn't have that skunky.
Right.
That, and there's no such
hasn't been
thing
sitting in a green bottle.
Right. And there's no such thing as Amstel Light over there. It's just Amstel.
it's like drinking a pork chop over there.
Yeah.
It's a beer. All right. So can you tell us the name of the book and the author that you recommended so that we can put that in the show notes?
The book is called The Krampus and the Old Dark Christmas. Roots and Rebirth of the Folklore Devil.
It's Al Ridenauer is the author. And we'll put that in the show notes. Yeah.
Because that's a great reference to start. And then you said the switches that Krampus use are birch.
Yes.
Why is that?
Yeah, why birch?
So I don't know 100%, but I believe a lot of it has to do with...
Because I got birch trees. I'll make my switch.
I think birch is used in a lot of pagan stuff as a rebirth for some reason in cleansing. And I think that's part of it that just got brought along.
So when they switch you, they're pushing the evil out of you and you're being reborn.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Ooh, you think that'd work now?
Depends how deep the evil is.
Well, there you go.
So have you ever thought of turning this into like an actual, like a 501c3 charity or anything like that?
So we have, and this has been our great debate, is I hate being involved with the money aspect of it. Like, I don't mind. We spend our own money.
It almost becomes a business then, but not.
Right. Yeah. And we spend our own money, and I don't mind spending my own money for the costumes or the backdrops and stuff. And it's so much easier to be like, hey, just donate it to this group. Where, like you said, once you become the 501c3, you have to keep ledgers. You got to mark this expense went here, that one went there, and then for me to buy like the backdrop or whatever, okay, I just go and say I'm spending $350 for the backdrop. There, I gotta write the check, make sure I have the funds there. If not, I would have to donate it to the group first, and then do that. Yeah. So we sat down, and when me and Liz formed this, we were like, do we do the 501c3? Do we not? And we were like, it's kind of easier to find a charity and say, hey,
would you take some money?
Yeah. Like, all you have to do is explain yourself. We set up the events, we draw the attraction of the people, and here you go. And Piper's Key was actually a really great example of this. She started that charity literally 6 months before we got in touch with her. And we were able to get on the local news last year, and we gave her a lot of exposure for a brand new charity. And what was her charity? What was
Piper's Key about? What's it all about?
She lost her daughter, and her daughter was going to have a lot of disabilities. So she was looking for books for children that shared their disability, but in a positive light. So she actually found like child authors who wrote books for her. One of them is it's called My Special Magic Shoes. And the author of the book, her daughter actually has to wear braces. So they did a whole book about special magic shoes, which were the braces. And they find kids they write books of their disability in a positive light and then donate it to the kids for free. So there's no cost for the books for the families that need them. And
so
she
you're
goes into
shining a new nice light on Krampus, aren't you?
Yeah.
Kind of not. I mean, he's doing good.
but also it's hard for people, and we've had it happen when I was with the previous group, people that really like yell at you and are like, you're devil worshippers, you're this or that.
Right.
Well, you know what? I'm doing this for a charity. How evil am I? Like,
right.
I get nothing from this except the joy of being Krampus, which I do enjoy, but this is all going back to the community. So, hate me if you will, but
do you
I'm not
feel the power when you put on the outfit? Do you be the Krampus?
Yeah. Do you become Krampus? Is there a transition that takes place?
Or are you still you under all that?
Like, do I really have to put this layer of fur on?
So just a kind of weird question for you. You say you purchase backdrops. Do you order them? Are they usually snowy scenes or what?
Here's Karen, the photographer, talking.
Yeah, what do you, for your Krampus, what do you pick as your scene?
So my wife just yelled at me. I can't give away this year's.
Okay,
theme,
don't give away this year's.
Don't.
Last year we did Krampus's lair. So
Okay.
the backdrop was like a blacksmith shop almost, the backdrop where it had a thing where you would make metal or whatever. And then we got an old whiskey barrel and put it up in the throne chair and a bucket of coal and other stuff. And that was the scene for the pictures. And the year before we did like a snow covered tree with a snowy backdrop and then the fake snow and did that for that year.
Do you sit in the throne at your dinner table? Because I would.
No.
No?
The throne chair is actually in the garage.
No. What did you
it will get used. It will get used for trick or treating.
Nice.
And there are photos of their previous backdrops on their Facebook page. So if you want to check it out,
I will.
Yeah, the last year was pretty good. But so was the snow. The snow.
Greg.
That was pretty good too.
Because we talked about making a throne for Greg, but we just never followed through.
So I'm not gonna lie. I looked at making a throne and what was gonna go involved in it, and I was like, no way. I'm not gonna finish it, or I'm gonna sit on it and end up going to the doctors because it collapsed on me and I got splinters everywhere.
Well, you've got like 60 pounds extra just on what you're wearing. You have to be careful.
The throne chair we find, and we make modifications for it for some of the photos, but it was literally a Halloween prop at a Home Depot. So,
oh, nice. I was going to say, I thought you found it at a yard sale. Just said this will work.
Yeah, we cheated a little bit on that, but there's so by the time we cut material, sew it, for the leather stuff, we actually use a leather guy, Vaughn's Leather, up in I forget where he is actually, Hartville, Ohio. He does all of our leather sewing and stuff, and he makes my belts for the bells and stuff. Because I don't have the equipment to sew leather, but just sewing the costume together takes a lot of time. And then Liz hand makes the gloves, and then Liz hand makes the booties to cover our shoes and stuff. So we try to make it to where once we're in costume, you don't see any part of shoes or hands or anything like that.
So what was your first Krampus costume? Did you start basic and move up, or did you just go straight in with the wooden mask from the beginning?
I did the wooden mask right from the beginning, but I got one that was it was made differently. So it was glued 2x12s and then carved by that. It was done locally here. That was the first mask I got. And then that costume I used mostly deer pelts, fur on deer pelts. And then and to be honest with you, deer's really affordable, and there's a lot of it in Ohio.
Right.
People sell pelts relatively cheap for that. But then, like, my wife's costume is actually all the fur is sheep rugs that have been cut and sewn together for the whole upper body part of the costume. And then my other one was yak.
So you sound like you've moved up as you've gotten more and more. It's like anything else, right? You get more and more into it. Ooh, this is better than the one I have. And you think, I think I'll level up. But you keep all the costumes. You still have all your originals.
Yes, all the original.
I was trying to get you. I thought, oh, sometimes he sells it. You could have slid in there. But you probably have an attachment to them.
No, I wouldn't say so much an attachment. There's a level of disgustingness to them.
Oh, that makes it yours.
Yeah.
Yes, I get it.
Once a lot of the faux fur or real fur sewn on, the only washing they kind of get is we take them out to the garage with a can of Lysol and literally just
Febreze.
Yeah.
Winter scent.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's wrap up a little bit. So
let's talk about the events you have coming up, because this episode is going to drop 11/20. So
okay,
I think all your events are going to be after this one goes
correct. Live. Yeah. So we have an event on 11/27 at No Class in Cleveland, and that's our Photos with Krampus.
Is that a bar?
Yeah.
That's the rock club. So we actually, where the bands play is where we're set up with the stage.
And what time does that run?
That is going to run from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. And then after that, we have Krampusnacht at the Cleveland Botanical Gardens, December 3rd. That is a ticketed event. You actually have to get tickets from the Botanical Gardens, and that event's from 6 to 8:30. And then the following day, December 7th, we'll be at the East Lake Christmas Market.
The 4th.
Oh, the 4th. Yes, December 4th, the East Lake Christmas Market. And that event is running from 2 to 6. And then the following weekend, December 9th, 10th, and 11th, we will be at Hudson's Kris Kringle Market. I recommend to anybody, if you have a chance to make up the little drive, they do it in Hudson Square.
You ever been to Hudson, Ohio, Karen?
No, that's my last name. So I've seen sweatshirts and stuff, and I think, I got to go there because Christmas would be done for me. I'd just buy a bunch of sweatshirts.
They spend a lot of time getting a lot of interesting vendors, and that's the same thing they focus on that one. It's a lot of local type vendors at that event, and they do German food, and they're part of Dora now. So they're able to serve Glühwein and beer to walk around, and it's a real nice event. I'm not sure on all the times, but it's all 3 days. And if anybody checks out that event's already up on the Hudson Lawnsburg website.
Is it outside or inside?
It's outside. So they do little Christmas lights. They pipe in German Christmas music, and you do an outdoor Kris Kringle Market. Similar to the one, were you ever at the one in Cincinnati? Cincinnati's was a little nicer because it was on Fountain Square, and they had the actual huts set up and everything, where this is just tents for the weekend. But I would say similar setup to what Cincinnati had.
Okay, cool. All right. So tell us again your Facebook page.
At O Krampus, OH Krampus.
See, in Columbus, we have to say IO.
Oh.
But I'm a Bearcat. I went to University of Cincinnati, so I don't.
Well, see, I'm a Buckeye, and I don't even say IO.
No, okay. So. But every time I hear OH, I think IO because I know it's coming. Okay, awesome. And then, Greg, what else do we need to? Is there anything else we need to? Why don't you let's hit the finer points of the take home, as when we lecture, when I would was in school, we would say, what are the take-home points? So basically, Krampus isn't a bad guy. He's just following orders from Saint Nick, who is supposed to be a good guy, but is sending kids to Krampus.
Correct.
So, he's not a bad guy.
No.
He comes from, what would you say, mostly Scandinavian countries is where the tradition started?
The Alp region.
The Alp region.
Yeah. All the way from Italy, because there's a town in northern Italy that does Krampus festivals. It's most heavily in Austria and southeast Germany, but it does cover parts of Italy and parts of Slovakia and wherever you kind of see where the Alps stretch out.
Okay. And he does carry bells to warn evil away, usually. Yes. He's always with Saint Nick.
I would say in public, he's always with. He's
what did you say? Bound to him. Okay. Yes. And there are levels of bad.
Correct.
When you might just get switched or you might get carried away, depending on whether you're me or Greg. Anything else that you want to say about him? Like, what do you have, like a little elevator pitch about Krampus that you'd like to throw out?
I guess the main point is there, just like everything in life, there's a duality, and Krampus was an early way to teach duality to children in a way that they would understand it.
I think it's pretty clear.
And with children that before everything else, that really needed to be done. It needed to be put in black and white, and I think Krampus, puts it right in black and white.
I agree.
Here's your guy with horns.
And it's all year. It's not just in that you're not just angling like here for Santa Claus. You're not just angling for the gift in December. It's the whole year he's watching. Because Elf on a Shelf, which you equated with Krampus, is kind of comes out in December. Right. And kids are like, oh, I just have to be good in December. But no, this is all year.
Yeah.
They're keeping a list. So you got to be on your toes and be good, which makes sense.
It's kind of funny, though, because I'm only 44, but my parents always stressed, even when we would be bad in March, Santa's always watching. And it's sad that we've gotten to the point now where, he's only watching from Thanksgiving till Christmas.
And that's a struggle just to be good for that amount of time. So don't stress us out. Awesome. Well, this has been really, really fun. So thanks so much.
No problem. Thank you so much.
It was a pleasure.
Thanks, Ed. It was really fun.
All right. You guys have a wonderful evening.
Thanks for teaching us. We like learning.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us for Wicked Ramblings. Remember, we are not experts, and this podcast is for entertainment purposes only.
But you better be good,
or Krampus is going to get you. Anything else, Karen?
Please drink responsibly.
Yes.
Thanks so much for listening. Want to keep in touch? Check out our website, scaryspirits.com. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Scary Spirits Podcast. Find us on YouTube at Scary Spirits Podcast. If you have questions or comments, you can email us at info@scaryspirits.com. To help us grow the podcast, you can leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. We really do appreciate your support. And as always, please drink responsibly.